Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the best Vanguard ultimates in Marvel Rivals on a tier list. So, some Vanguards have pretty useful ultimates, whereas others, like Thor here, don't have that good of ones at all. So I guess we'll start off first here with Thor, who has a bit of a weaker ultimate. Now, what it does is it deals 40 damage per second in this spell field here that you can see in an area of effect, and then once you slam down, it does 220 damage. That does sound like quite a bit, doesn't it? However, the big problem is it's very hard to land this because most people hear it coming and they get out of the way. So you don't have any slowdown. A little way to make it a little bit better is to drop your rune down right here before dropping it so that people have a little bit of a slow before they get out of the area. But even still, most people seem to get out of the way before the ultimate's able to drop down. So again, it does 40 damage per half second, so it's 80 damage a second, and then 220. That's enough to take out a strategist or two, if you're able to land it. Now, it is a little bit harder. I honestly always refer to this one as a wet paper towel of an ultimate because most people hear it coming. You can jump yourself up here really high to get a little bit extra mobility, but you don't move that fast while doing your ultimate, and that's the problem because most people will be able to escape it. So you can see here I'm moving as fast as possible. People can outrun that no problem. So with this, I would have to say that Thor's ultimate is probably C or D tier. So I'll just put it in the C tier here because it still can pick up kills. You can still get knockouts with it, no problem, if you get lucky. Now, at higher competitive level, people seem to know to move out of the way of it, meaning you're not likely to get very many knockouts with it. Next, we got ourselves Peni. Now, I'm a big fan of Peni. I think her ultimate is okay if you're able to use it right. Now, there's a specific way that's best used. Whenever you use it, you get temporary health, so it brings you up to 1100 health. Now, what you're going to do is hold down your right click, dropping the arachno mines, and then you want to walk up in front of people and knock them into the air here. So it'll not attack where your cursor is, it'll attack actually in front of Penny's body there. So you can see whenever you're in the ultimate, it only attacks directly in front of her. So you want to have right click held down and then press your left click whenever you get right in front of them. We're obviously going against a bot that isn't fighting back, so that's the reason that we're able to take them out. The mines do a lot of damage, but the ultimate itself isn't that good because it requires you to get in close if you want to deal damage. And by that time, people are going to be focusing on you pretty heavily. The temporary health is really nice, but for the most part, this ultimate is also not that great. You can have a lot of luck with it at times. Like, it's really up to luck though. Most people are going to run away from it and you'll be not able to get your attacks off with it. So with that, I would have to say that Penny's ultimate is probably also somewhere in the C tier. Maybe, yeah, we'll put a C tier. It could be better. I'm not sure how they could correct this and make it a little bit stronger, but it definitely is missing something that the other ultimates on this list have. Next, we got ourselves the Thing, who has a decent ultimate actually. With the Thing, it's clobbering time. So whenever you use his ultimate, he slams down on the ground here, and it does a 3-meter wide radius, and then it goes 10 meters away. And what's nice about this is it'll stun people for 2.5 seconds. So with that, you're likely able to get a couple knockouts in with this. It's great if you're able to get up into the front line and then use it in an advantageous position where you go in and then do a haymaker punch and then follow it up with a 1-2. That's typically the best strategy that I've used in it, and it's going to ensure that you get at least one knockout if you're in a good position. But people can usually read it coming. You just got to be mindful though. It does have a pretty decent range, so it's the 10-meter range, so you can drop this down from a while away and then rush in with this attack and then finish them off with a couple punches. But it only does 100 damage, so it's not even that super powerful in terms of an ultimate, but it's good because it gives you that stun too. So I think that if you're able to make use of it, this can be a decent ultimate. So I'm going to put it into the B tier here because I do think it's got some usefulness to it. Now, we got ourselves the Hulk ultimate. With Hulk, he's got obviously a few. So there's the one that turns him into Banner, or into Hulk from Banner, the Puny Banner it's called. And then once you get that off, you then have the World Breaker Hulk. So what you want to do is typically it's best used whenever you're like getting low on health. So if you continually keep taking damage and damage and damage, then you go into the Monster Hulk, you regain all your health back. The thing that makes this really good is you have this clap attack that regenerates every second. So you do have a very powerful punching attack, but you can see there, it does enough to take him out in 2 attacks, which is just really useful because otherwise you're kind of not going to get a lot of knockouts in with this. So the thing is, it's good for the survivability, but when you turn into Monster Hulk, everyone's going to be focusing on you. It only lasts 12 seconds though, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But the best way to do this is to go with this, clap, and then use your exile to stop them from attacking. When you attack, it's going to knock them up in the air. And he's also got another ultimate here where he grabs them and slams them across the ground. These do 40 damage per hit. It's actually a DPS loss to use that, so I would recommend not doing that if you go into the Hulk World Breaker or the Monster Hulk form, because it's actually best to just use this transformation, do your clap attack, freeze them in spot, and then clap attack again. That's going to be enough to take out most targets. So that's typically the best way to go about doing that, because your clap attack will refresh every second, so that can give you some actually good damage overall. Don't go for the grab, that's a big DPS loss. So with Hulk's ultimate, it's interesting. It's in a good spot. I would say it's probably upwards of maybe A tier, but I'm going to put it at the top of the B tier. I feel like it is a bit better than the Thing's ultimate, but it makes you a huge walking target, and that's good and all, but yeah, it's just missing some of the oomph that others have. Next, we got ourselves the Captain America ultimate, which this one's tough because it gives your team a buff as well. So whenever you get your ultimate as Captain America, what happens is you get a movement speed increase, you get 150 extra health, and then you gain 100 health per second. So you're going to continually keep healing. Your allies get 60 health per second, and they get an initial boost of 100 health. And it's actually in a 3-meter radius around your character, so it actually gives you a pretty generous ability to buff up your team, and it increases your overall movement speed, so you can actually hunt people down much more effectively. This is an interesting ultimate because of the amount of healing that it can give to you and your team. So with that, it's nice because you're able to assist yourself and assist your team, give them a bit of a health boost, especially if they're in a situation where they might end up getting knocked out. You can use this ultimate to further enhance that, and then obviously go off with all your abilities here to take them out. It's a tough one to quantify because it depends on if your team is going to be grouped up with you and if your team's competent in using this as well alongside you. So with that, I would have to say that Captain America's ultimate is probably, I would say it's probably around the B tier. Maybe Hulk's is like A tier or something. I would say it's close to an A tier. I feel like Captain America's is not as good as Hulk's, unless your teammates are taking advantage of it. So that's obviously a big piece of it, is making sure that your team's going to get the most benefit from it. Next, we got ourselves Venom, who's got an interesting ultimate. It's almost like an ultimate that a strategist would have. Now, what it does is you go into the ground here, and then you jump up and bite targets, and you get temporary health based upon the health that you got from the enemies. So where that becomes really useful is with Venom. If you see two tanks, like you see a Groot and a Magneto there, pop into your ultimate. You typically want to pop your ultimate as quickly as you can, because people will run away or shield it if possible. So the strategy here is to make sure that whenever you use your ultimate as Venom, that you, let's say you get in close like this, you're doing your attacks, you drop down and do it quickly so that you can get both of them and get that temporary health. Where it gets useful is it's giving you that over health. Venom has a lot of over health and a lot of shields, and that's where he becomes pretty scary, because whenever you're going into these attacks, you also can do that grab attack too. That's another really good strategy to go with whenever you're playing as Venom, is going in, doing your binding attack so that you grab both of them before you drop down into your ultimate, because then you're still going to have this applied to them, and then the damage will trigger and you can get both the targets that you're able to hit with it. So this can make it very deadly. But the biggest benefit to using this ultimate, you're not able to see it through this video, but if you're taking out two, like a Groot and another target, that's going to give you a ton of overhealth, which makes you even scarier to remove. And where Venom really shines, I find, is when you can get in close and headshot someone, because his attacks are he's the only one that can get a headshot off with his attacks. It's obviously easier to land a headshot when you're up and close against an enemy. So this is where Venom really shines. And then obviously once his health goes down, he's also got his other shield that he has. So with his ultimate and then also that other shield, Venom is pretty much unkillable. So that makes this ultimate actually pretty good, due to it takes away half health from Vanguard, so you want to be targeting Vanguards, and then it gives you all that extra health. So I actually think Venom's ultimate is an A tier because of the extra health that you're getting from it. It makes this very powerful, in all honesty, and it also removes half the health from a tank, which is crazy if you can get two of them in your grasp. Next, we got ourselves Doctor Strange, who actually has a very solid ultimate. And what's best about Doctor Strange is he has a couple ways to really utilize it. So you can fly up and above with his ability here, and then drop down doing your attack. And then the thing with Doctor Strange is whenever you're attacking with him, when you land the ultimate, it creates 2 clones of the body. So it actually hits in a pretty large area of effect. So whenever you're using it, you typically want to build up as much dark magic as you can. So using this by going with like melee attacks, because melees will give you 10, whereas each dart will give you 3. So you can actually build it up pretty quickly here. So now I have the maximum dark magic. We're going to go with the Eye of Agamotto, and then boom, since it hits him and the clone, it's going to deal double damage to them. So you can actually take out a healer with, like, if you have your dark magic built up, this is going to be great. Another way that you can take advantage of this is by going with a portal. So this is a really useful strategy. So you make your portal here, and then with this, you're going to use your ultimate as you go through the portal. Not that high. You got to be a little bit closer to the ground with it, but we'll go ahead here again. And there we go. So I landed proper that time. You don't want to use this until you have dark magic that is pretty high, because once you land with the dark magic, the dark magic release, the Maelstrom of Madness, is going to release it, dealing that double damage to the enemies. So that's where this ultimate becomes really strong. So with that, I would say that Doctor Strange's ultimate is also probably A tier. I'd have to put it up there, because this can actually be a game changer. Like, there's been some games that I've had where we're losing, and all it takes is a really good timed portal above the platform where everyone on the enemy's team is, especially if you're communicating with your teammates and letting them know this ultimate is coming. I always ping it, the ultimate status, so I always go ping, letting them know the ultimate is coming, and then dropping it down on them so your team can optimize on that and take advantage of the extra damage that you get from this. So I would have to say that Strange's ultimate is definitely A tier, so it's quite powerful. But next we got ourselves Groot. I'm Groot. With Groot's ultimate, it's actually really good too. Where this ultimate becomes really powerful is that if you have walls set up behind the enemy and then you launch your ultimate into it, you can see there the walls will attack too and take out enemies really quickly, like extremely quickly. So that's where things get crazy. You don't even have to attack with Groot's ultimate. It's literally that nutso. Like, so just to, I guess, show it off again here, throw it against your wall. It's going to pull it in and the wall will continually attack. If you want to further enhance this, like let's say there's a bunch of Vanguards here, you can throw it into the wall and then throw your grenade, which makes the wall attack once again. This ultimate's actually pretty crazy. I don't see a lot of people doing it into the walls though, but you can see there, it makes the wall attack it too. Even with it, I'll remove the walls here. Even without it, it's still really damaging because you see it deals damage over time, so you can take people out. Groot's ultimate has no business being this strong, but I do see a lot of people not making the best out of it, so I just want to put that out there. Get the walls in front of it, because if there's a healer, they're going to try and out-heal it, so you want to stop that if all possible. So just throw up a couple of walls, ultimate into the wall, it pulls people in and the walls keep getting attacked. It's crazy. With this, I would have to say Groot's ultimate is S tier. It's seriously that good. I feel like a lot of people underrate Groot and how effective his ultimate can be, but you saw it here first, folks. You can just literally launch it at a wall, the walls will attack and take people out. That didn't trigger the walls for some reason, but normally it will. Now we have one last hero to cover, and that is Magneto. Magneto's ultimate is actually crazy for a couple of reasons. So it's a defensive ult. We like defensive ults. People are always crying about how you can't pick Rocket, he doesn't have a defensive ult, pick Luna, pick Invisible Woman. Now, Magneto's got a defensive one, because you'll see here, it's pulling all the attack fire from the enemy there. So bullets are going into charging your ultimate. So it's going to give your team some much needed relief, which is super useful, because let's say you're currently getting blasted. Your health is at 100. You can jump yourself up in here. Your healers can heal you while you're absorbing all bullets, and then you can blast that down and hit a target, taking them out in one shot. Now, where this gets even crazier, this is the counter to one of the biggest metas in the game with the defense ults. Now, if you hear Luna Snow doing her ultimate, you're in for a bad time, because with that, no one can take them out. It's really hard to take people out. If you use your ultimate, once it passes, you're going to see there, you got in the middle of the screen, it has a little timer there that's going off, and it's also charging up by the bullets that you're absorbing. So you don't want to let it get to 100 there, because with that, it's going to crash your ultimate, and then your ultimate doesn't work. So Punisher can overwhelm it. Star-Lord can also kind of overwhelm it if you got others shooting at you, but Punisher's the big fear. So be careful if you're popping this when Punisher's up, because you got to be quick. You got to watch where that is. But whenever you hold it up into the air, over time it's going to continually get more and more damage, and this can go upwards of 300 damage. So whenever you're near like the end of it there, that's the best time to launch it. Now the thing is with his ultimate, it'll one-shot Luna through her ult, it'll one-shot Invisible Woman through her ult. So if Invisible Woman has her ultimate up, the thing is, you can't deal with it. But if you go inside of her ultimate and hit her, it'll remove the invisible barrier. So that's where this becomes really powerful, because you just go up and dunk on them. I've seen so many memes, edits of Magneto dropping his ultimate like it was a dunk, and that's seriously how it feels. Now, you can actually get really lucky with this and also take out multiple strategists if they're grouped together, because it does have a bit of splash damage and like a 3-meter radius there, so you can, I'll show you here, you can hit targets even if you're not aiming perfectly at them. You still can hit the target with that, so you can get lucky and take out people with that. But where this is huge is it provides defense, and it goes against one of the hardest metas to cover. When I guess it's not really a meta, it's just the way the game is played, whenever people use their defense ultimates and just block all damage. So it's really, really impactful, and I would say that this is the best ultimate from a Vanguard in Marvel Rivals. So if we're to break this down, we got ourselves Magneto and Groot in the S tier. Groot is more offensively focused, and Magneto's obviously more defensively focused. However, it's a great counter to a healer. Doctor Strange's ultimate is also really good. You could also go in the S tier. It's that good, just because you can shut people down. With Venom's, it's all about giving himself that extra over health and halving the amount of health that a Vanguard has. So you obviously want to use that as on a couple Vanguards if possible. Hulk's ultimate's pretty good, same as Captain America. They give them the extra health and survivability and movement speed and all that kind of jazz, but I wouldn't say it's good enough to be in the A tier. And the Thing's ultimate is also quite solid, because you can usually take out a healer with that. It could be probably top of the B tiers. It just depends how. Again, with Captain America, it's all about the team, and with Hulk, you either get lucky with it or you don't. And then Peni's and Thor's are, honestly, Thor could probably go into the D tier. It's hard to say. I do have some luck sometimes with Peni's ultimate, but it's obviously not on the it's not on the level of Magneto's or Groot's. So let me know your thoughts about these Vanguard ultimates in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have yourself a great day.